meaningless. Meaningless, utterly meaningless. Solomon is writing these words in Ecclesiastes, reflecting on his life. Wisdom is meaningless. Pleasures are meaningless. Everything is meaningless. He even hints that time might be meaningless, except he shares words that we are very familiar with, probably because of the birds more than anything else. You see, these are the words. There's a time for everything. A time to born, a time to die, a time to plant, a time to reap, a time to kill and to heal, and a time to laugh, and a time to weep. A time for every purpose under heaven. Well, Solomon asks a question which is important for us to ponder about our time. What do workers gain from their toil? Well, Jesus asked this question many years later when speaking about worry. Can any one of you, by worrying, add a single hour to your life? Can you? Also, if you remember, Jesus compares the clothes to the flower of the field. And interestingly, bringing up Solomon in this passage from Matthew, saying that Solomon, even in his splendor, was never dressed like one of these flowers. Time is elusive, but never meaningless. Sure, we would love to add an hour, probably a couple hours, if not more, to our lives at times. I'm sure you've had those days when there just wasn't enough time for you. Maybe it was during the pressures of work and you needed just a little more time to finish a project. Maybe it was a day that you were celebrating with family or friends and you just didn't want the day to end. No matter how hard you tried, you could never figure out a way to add even just a few minutes of time. The only way we could come close was to steal time away from something else. Maybe we can be a little late to that next meeting. We don't really have to be on that Zoom call, do we? We rob Peter to pay Paul, or maybe it was Mary. Where did that get us? As Roger Miller would tell us, another day older and deeper in debt. Time is important. It is valuable, depending on what we do with it. I was recently reading the book The Tyranny of Time by Robert Banks when I came across a chapter that talked about technological advances. These technological advances in society and how this was going to help us gain time. Think about it. If we could use technology to speed up certain processes, to increase our productivity and even to organize us better, couldn't we then see an increase in our spare time? I mean, it makes perfect sense. Turns out it seems like just another myth. You see, this book was written in 1997, 10 years before the birth of the iPhone in 2007, even before the old Nokia 5110 phone, which debuted actually in 1998. It turns out the more technological advances that came, the further we have felt behind. Where is all this time he was writing about? I certainly haven't found it. Have you? I wonder if they knew then what we know now. Would they change anything? Maybe slow down some of those technology advances? Probably not. Well, I also hear about the misconception of time from many who have retired. Some find themselves busier than they have ever been. Of course, they say the difference is that they fill their time with things they truly love. But this got me to thinking, do we need to reclaim our time again? Do we need to redeem the time that we have? Use it for different things. Use it for things that have kingdom values right now. You know, I continually push you for 15 minutes. It's not that much. It's just a small portion of your day given over to listening to God, to talking to God. This is time to share what's going on in your life, where you're struggling, and even where you're celebrating. And then listening. Truly listening. time may seem elusive, and it may also feel meaningless at times, but you can take control of it. You can redeem your time. As we move closer to the season of Lent, I wonder what it would look like to carve out more time devoted to building your relationship with Jesus Christ. How could your journey benefit from a little extra time spent with your Creator? I know this. You will not regret spending this extra time. I also think that you will notice more quality time in other areas as well. From the Field Journal, January 28th.